Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Aries energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Aries energy. And the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Aries energy. Because we all have our dualistic nature within ourselves. And Aries energy also is about making decisions in our life. And we have our more high vibrational nature, which is hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in our dreams and letting love and intuition guide us. But depending on, what lessons we have to learn in life and where some people are at in their life, they might be more tempted by their worldly nature, less greed, pride, ego, self-centeredness, immaturity, codependency, etc., etc. Um, but at any time when we're living our life, we've always got our more shadow nature, which can just be our fears and our insecurities and, things that we struggle with and maybe other people in our life. And, so we'll kind of cover that too. But some people could be struggling within themselves, trying to make a decision. Other people have made their decision. Some people are, they're in their free will, they're more aligned with their hopeful, believing, loving nature. Some other people we might know have made their decision and they are more about either themselves or the world or things they like to indulge in. The truth that we have to learn, which can be hard to accept if you're someone motivated and inspired by love, is that in a world of duality where people have free will, and in order to have free will, we have to have these different types of people in the world, that there are the people in the world who are, it's like, I'm not doing love. I could get hurt doing love. I don't believe in love. I've been hurt before. I don't want to do love. And then it can be, kind of hiding behind their ego nature, their false mask in a way. I'm not going to let my more hopeful, believing, loving nature out to play. They could get hurt. And then that's how they choose to live their life. And it's kind of at a core foundational level what people's truth is. And some people are more, the most important thing is that it be about them, or that they have a certain status or image in the world. Because, of course, the world, tries to tell us that if we make our life about these certain things or have these certain things, we'll be happy. And, we might feel like those people are caught up in the illusion of the world and that they haven't been illuminated to the truth. And they might have some lessons to learn. So let's go see what some of the stories are in here. So we've all been more immature and codependent is what the bottom row can represent. And we all are inspired by the world. And there's things, the star card can talk about these dreams and things that we'd like to invest in, right? And there can be a lot of things that we can be drawn and attracted to that we enjoy, but it's to stay in balance. The things of the world are meant to be enjoyed. Go enjoy them, but um, we all could have went through a period of our life where we made some certain things in our life. We thought for sure those things were going to make us happy. Things we could have, drinking, drugs, being in a relationship to feel better, status, ego, image, whatever, being more about ourselves, whatever it is. And some people learn that, called judgment on that. That isn't the answer. And though they could have, the reason for the top rose reading is the moon card. Again, we can kind of, the bottom row being the shadow nature can just be our pride and ego. We think we're pretty smart and we think we have our way of viewing life, but the moon can be, there can be a lot of things that we were seeing clearly. And one of them can be thinking everybody's motivated and inspired by love, thinking everybody harnesses high vibe Aquarius energy, that everybody is willing to look at life from a higher perspective, but not everybody does. Again, some people, shadowy Aquarius can be where it's more about me. I'm supposed to be the center of attention. Maybe people have made me the center of attention and kind of indulged me in poor behavior all my life, or maybe I'm full of myself. Other people could be, no, I'm caught up in the illusion of the world, and I think the most important thing is to get in relationships for how it benefits me and to make me look like a shining star. That's the most important thing. Love, that's optional. or I might not even want that, you know? And we have to go on this kind of adventure in life, and we come in contact with all these different people in the world to try to get us to see through the illusion. Not everyone is who they present themselves to be. People can wear a false mask. Oh, no, I'm a stable, grounded, balanced, loving, just fair person. And they can seem like that type of person. They can act like that type of person. They can seem like that is the truth of their life. And then we find out that they're hiding, they're more immature, or they're more caught up in themselves, or it has to be more about them, or they're more about the ego and the image. And we need to learn those lessons in life. And some people have learned some of those lessons, and they've also detached from being more immature themselves, being full of themselves, being so caught up in making these things of the world so important. High vibe energy is being more independent, holding yourself accountable. I got to grow up. I got to temper my more being all about myself or whatever. If I'm going to work together with other people, if I really want my dream to come into reality, I need to grow up. It's not all about me. If I'm going to work with other people, they have their dreams, their goals, things that they enjoy doing. I have my dreams, my goals, things I enjoy doing. And it's to work together to compromise. I might not get all the things I want. They might not get all the things they want. But if together we're working cooperatively for a common goal, that is the thing about making decisions and having free will. I can do this or I can do that. And some people decided, you know, I do have that hopeful, believing spirit, is what the pages can represent. I maybe was more codependent. I've went through some life experiences that made me realize I better get out of my more codependent energy, because there was more shadowy people in the world who I hadn't learned the truth of, or even because I could have thought everybody's motivated by love. And I got in relationships with people who created the illusion they were, and they weren't. And I could have also, in more codependent energy, looked to other people to make me feel more stable or secure or loved. And we need to learn to do that within ourselves, to be our own best, like mother, father, coach voice, and be a loving and encouraging person within ourselves, harnessing high vibe Aquarius, high vibe fire sign, high vibe earth sign energy. Am I motivated and inspired and want to manifest and enjoy some of these things of the world? Yes. But I've learned these lessons in life that being in good Aries energy within myself, I better be a good leader in my own life, because I have my more hopeful, believing, loving, vulnerable nature, and I need to stand up for myself. And part of these life experiences we could have went on was to get us to stand up for ourselves. And the moon can be fear, fear of standing up for ourselves, standing up for our truth. And we got to go on this journey just to even help us get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't, by coming in contact with all these different people in the world. And then, like, is this my truth? Isn't this my truth? I thought I liked this, but then as time goes by, you know, and there to some people, um, high vibe energy is willing to be more independent, go with the flow, learn lessons in life, have that hopeful, believing spirit, but the journey continues throughout your life. And I think life is about learning all these lessons to get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. Do we choose love? Do we choose an Aries energy is about the self? Do I love myself? Have I learned to love myself? Or do I keep getting in more codependent relationships? And then I can get relationships with people who are happy I haven't learned to love myself, happy I may be more codependent, and they want me to stay more codependent, and maybe don't want me to love myself, and don't ever want me to move up in more high vibe energy where I am more independent and where I do love and believe in myself, and no longer creating an illusion in the world or making my life about creating an illusion in the world. I want to live my authentic life based on my truth. So we've all kind of been there and done that. The difference is we can all know, just like we've been more immature, codependent, caught up in things in the world, thought certain things or people were going to be the answer to making us happy or something. Other people can too. The difference between the people who really were inspired to put in the work to free themselves from things that manipulate them and hold themselves accountable and call judgment on it. Like, I am not going to repeat that pattern. Not just because people frown on it or because people won't want to be my friend. I just determined within myself, I don't care if I was around a bunch of people who are all doing something. I'm not going to do it. I've already been there and done that. Like, you can be around 45-year-olds, male and females, and they can be acting like junior high people, being catty and gossipy and bullies and whatever. And it's like, I don't want to be around people who act like that. I hung around people like that maybe in 8th grade. I want to hang around people who are more mature. So even if I am around people who are like that, yeah, no, this is not my truth. And I'm not going to create an illusion because of the ego or the image or because I want them to like me. I don't like them. And I don't care how much status or image they have. Now, we can work with people or, we can want you needless. We don't have to be trying to impose ourselves on other people where we can get along with people. Do I want to spend more time and energy and effort with you than I have to? No. Can I get along with you? Yes, because I try to invest in peace and working together with people and treating other people the way I like to be treated. So can we be around other people who are all these different ways of living in the world? Yeah. And just like they can be around us. But what I wanted to say is that some people didn't kind of really see things clearly. They also could have been more immature at one time, probably like when we're between 5 and 8, that we can be more self-consumed with ourselves. Um, we can go through a phase of life where we're indulging our more immature worldly nature. We're caught up in these things of the world. We can look to certain things to be the answer to our problems. Other people were kind of told some of the same things we were told, right? Well, that's immature, that's bossy, that's controlling, you're being manipulative or bossy or full of yourself or whatever, right? Whatever the case can be. The other people just decided to, oh, that's unacceptable. I will just hide that from the world, is what the moon can be. It's still like who they really are. That would be more like the sun, but they hide their true self and create an illusion. Other people really did learn lessons and did decide, you're right, I agree. It might have taken some time. What? I can't keep doing that or indulging that to that extent. That's not good for me. It's not going to have my dreams come into reality. You're right, and even if that's you talking to yourself. But some other people are like, shadowy energy can be more trying to conform to the world so people view you a certain way, so people will be in relationship with you. And some people never called judgment on some of those more immature or shadowy or egoic or prideful or egotistical or whatever ways of being. They just think, oh, so you're just supposed to not show that to people. So they kind of miss the point. And so those people are going out in the world, probably trying to present themselves as more high vibrational than they are. They get in relationship with more high vibrational people. And you can't hide the truth of who you are forever. Um, some people could think, you know, we have the Seven of Swords, which in shadow can be being deceptive and manipulative because really they're aligned with the devil. They're more shadowy, self centered, immature, self indulgent, more materialistically driven and motivated at like all costs in a way, not balanced. We all want some of these things in the world. We all want stability, security. We'd like to enjoy some of the finer things in life. But other people are more mature, have learned more lessons. their high vibe energy is more balanced, being more authentic. We all know that everybody wants some of those things of the world, but the high vibe people offer people truth and love. If I'm going to be in a romantic relationship with you, I want to be in a romantic relationship with you because I like you, love you, admire you, and I want to work together with you in an authentic, loving way. And love is to be just and fair and treating you the way I like to be treated. Some other people think, oh, is that what people think? Okay. I'll live more from my mind than my heart. I'll create an illusion. That's the type of person I am. But then it can be really kind of challenging for them to be in a relationship with someone like that because now they're in a relationship with someone who kind of, the devil can be, it challenges their belief system. And when they're in relationship with people who are more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, authentic, just and fair, and listen to, are connected in with their emotions and their intuition, is what the moon can represent in kind of Pisces and Cancer energy. Two water sign energies about connected in with your emotions and love and your intuition and believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. It can really get challenging for them. It's like someone kind of lying on their resume and getting in a job that they're really not qualified for. So, you know, it's supposed to be, you know, if you were to look at life as like a video game where you have to overcome these certain obstacles and master these certain obstacles to be able to go to the next level of the video game of life, some people have judgment called on them, but in their pride and ego, you have to deal with the truth. And instead of investing in being inspired by the truth, which is what the one pentacle can represent, they decided, I have an idea. I think I can invest in creating an illusion, and I'll just go back out there and try to get another job, friendship, or relationship. I've just learned better what not to do and what to hide from people, and maybe better control my more shadowy ways of being, because I found out that people don't like that. So then, not listening to their intuition, they could go out into the world, and the devil can just represent the world and can even just kind of represent human beings, right? They go out in the world and they try to present themselves as being more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, and loving. But the people they're in a relationship with, the moon can be that people, we don't know people well enough. So, it's not like the sun. We don't know everything about them. And that can be some people's plan. you know, some other people already saw the truth of me, the sun. They called judgment on me. I need to go find some people who don't know the truth about me and don't know me very well so that I can rework my plan with someone else. And as all of us are moving forward in the world, there's always going to be more shadowy people looking to find someone to get in a friendship or relationship with, or come work for them, or go into business with them. And they're not being truthful and authentic. So, but some people have gone through enough circumstances in life that one of the things they learned is that, I might have gotten myself in some situations and I ignored my intuition. My intuition was maybe telling me, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you should go home. This is not going to work out the way you think. But, pride comes before the fall, and we got some hard lessons to learn. And we were probably in the Seven of Swords, deceived and manipulated, because we had some lessons to learn about investing and loving and believing in ourselves, and investing and listening to our intuition. We're part of the animal kingdom, and all the other animals in the animal kingdom have their own unique things. The animals don't question it, they listen to it, they use it. We were given the gift of intuition, but because we have free will, we can choose to listen to it or not. But I think our intuition, was given to us as a gift. Just like we were given emotions and creativity and imagination and thought, So we're not just an animal or a computer. We have all these Virgo energy can kind of talk about. We have all these resources that we were given, these unique talent, skills, and interests, but we have the free will to invest in them or not. We have the free will to invest in our loving nature and kind of grow and mature ourselves emotionally. We have the free will to invest in ourselves and be inspired to grow and mature ourselves. We have the free will to look at life from a higher perspective, high vibe Aquarius, or in shadowy Aquarius of the Seven of Swords, we could get all up in our head. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? All we can do is take action in our truth, listen to our intuition, treat other people the way we like to be treated. That's offering people the highest vibration. And those people then have the free will to work together with us in that way or not. And that when we see that some people might have a problem with that, we accept the truth of it. If they are like, what? Truth and love and learning lessons and listening to my intuition and love, that would mean I'd kind of have to call judgment on my more immature egoic nature. I don't know. I kind of have a problem with that. And so then when you try to work together with them, they might act in kind of some shadowy ways that it's hard to work with them. Like, I'm trying to work together with you in a just and fair way to, if it's at work, to work together. And they're like being defensive or being immature, or people who try to get out of work and make other people do the work so they don't have to, like, oh my gosh, it's just so confusing. I was like, oh my God, just give it to me and I will do it. And that's what they're hoping. um, shadowy people can be people who do try to deceive and manipulate people because from their perspective, they could say they are smart. Aquarius energy, air sign energy. They don't have to be an Aquarius. Everybody taps into Aquarius energy. Everybody in the world can be smart in their own ways. And some people are very good at manipulating people and figuring out how to cheat the justice system. And they kind of feel maybe powerful, like, I got out of doing that. What they don't realize is that they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. Say a person has a child and the child could be very smart and they know how to work their parents so that basically the parents just like kind of don't even bother asking them to do stuff. Like, we'll just do it, or the other kids will help. And these people could think, like, I'm indulging in all these things of the world, but I don't have to work together and put in work and effort, but I still reap some of the rewards like the other people do. The only thing is, when they go out in the world, they are they are that type of person. They go out in the world with other people who were willing to work more cooperatively with people, maybe growing up and in their community and in their school and whatever. And those people are much more stable within themselves, grounded within themselves, have learned a lot more life lessons, have feel proud and accomplished of themselves. And these people are like going out as like 18 or 20-year olds, depending on if they went to college, and they've never really put themselves out there, and that can be scary, right? Where the other people have a lot more experience. Well, I went and helped with this and I worked with these people, and when I did all these different things in my life, yeah, those people were really crabby and those people were really bossy and those people were really rude and those people were maybe immature, in addition to all the wonderful, helpful, encouraging people. But they got that life experience of dealing with these different life situations and just probably kind of realized, high vibe, shadowy energy is like shadowy Leo, being in your more defensive, immature, egoic nature. High vibe energy is like harnessing high vibe Leo energy. I feel proud of myself. And it does build up your self-esteem. I might have been scared, but I faced my fears and I went and did it. The devil can be facing your fears. It's kind of like, what? You want me to go do that? Well, that's scary. And then you go do it and you kind of work through the fear. You listen to your intuition in working together with other people. And along the way, you learn lessons in life and you start to feel, high vibe Leo is like ending up feeling more comfortable within yourself. And because you kind of have these life experience of, working with other people, know how to temper your own fears, your own insecurities, to kind of maintain balance within yourself, because that's high vibe energy too, of maintaining balance within yourself, facing your fears and doing those things. And you keep kind of growing and maturing yourself. And some of the people who thought it was funny, maybe, that they got out of doing certain things, but then they go out in the world and then they could either keep trying it or it doesn't work and people just call judgment on them. You presented yourself, or you might have gotten out of college, and you say that, I assume because you're a certain age, you have learned some of these lessons in life, and then people kind of buy into the illusion. And then as they're working with them, they kind of realize that there's a lot of life skills that some of these people haven't learned. They do not know how to work together more cooperatively with people and temper their own fears and their own insecurities and their own immature or self-indulgent nature, and maybe keep trying to not take accountability and put in work and effort, for example. And the same thing can happen in relationships. Some people never really want to, and some people for a lot of their life, um, have kind of operated from their ego nature, not really being more authentically themselves. And it's kind of like the other people went out in the world, not everything worked out, but it's like as if they keep their inner child locked inside. You can't go out there, you could get hurt. I'm going to go, their ego nature, I'm going to go out in the world and present myself, and you don't get to go out there and play. Well, they never get the experience. It's kind of like, well, if I get hurt or I get pushed down or I get rejected, well, I wasn't really actually investing in them anyway. So it's kind of like I was just that shadowy fire sign energy. I was just kind of indulging in it. So, no skin off my nose because I wasn't authentically invested. High vibe Virgo is I am offering truth and love to people. And some people are like, no, I'm not doing that. I harness shadowy Virgo energy. I'm offering you things of the world. I'm offering you my status, my image, my looks, my body, my sexuality, my charm, my social clout. I'm offering you those things of the world that I have. I'm not offering you my more authentic, hopeful, believing, loving nature to play with. And for a long time, they could think that's a really good idea. I don't really get hurt. Things don't really work out, but I was never really more emotionally invested. I was living more from my mind than my heart. I was just like the devil, kind of indulging myself in a relationship, creating an illusion. It was love. But, I guess some people can more compartmentalize and tell themselves that, nope, 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 I don't love this person. Nope, nope, nope. I'm just along for the ride in a way. And they could think that was a good idea, but then they kind of shoot themselves in the foot because, well, they're not being more authentically themselves and learning how to pick themselves back up and kind of emotionally growing and maturing themselves in authentically in relationships. Other people are. And then they could try to get in relationships with people who really are being authentic and who they say they are, And they're trying to, keep wearing this false mask, but other people have lived enough life, they listen to their intuition, and it's like, there's a part of me in the Seven of Swords. I kind of want to believe you because I would like this to come into reality, but my intuition is telling me that I think you're kind of, I don't know, not being truthful, not being honest, not being authentic, kind of trying to confuse me about the truth of who you are. And they harness high vibe Aquarius, and they're going to listen to their intuition. And even though it could be hard because they want those things of the world, because the devil kind of represents those things of the world, and they could be attracted to someone, the high vibe people are going to listen to their intuition. I've already been there and kind of done that. And if my intuition is telling me you're not being authentic and honest, or you're kind of full of yourself, or it's more about the money or the status or the image or the indulgence of it. I've already been in a relationship with people who are like that. Or, you're not letting your more authentic nature out to play in the world, but I do. And I want to be in relationships with other people who do. The high vibe people are going to move on. And then the same way when we deal with people who just, you know, high vibe people try to put in a lot, generally put in a lot of work and effort. They know they're treating other people in a just and fair way. They want to get along with them. They want to work together with them. They enjoy working together with people, you know, not necessarily everybody, but especially in general, I like to get along with people. And in my romantic relationships, I like to uh, be loving, it's the truth of who I am, right? And so then when they are out in the community, it can bother them when other people act kind of shadowy. And I think shadowy people can purposely kind of do that because they know it will kind of bother you and like confuse you, and it's like, why are they acting like that? Why aren't they working with me like more cooperatively or whatever, or being more just and fair? And some of those people are hoping that because it confuses you or it kind of bothers you in the devil card, like, why aren't they doing that? I wanted to be friends with them, or I wanted to get to know them better. Why are they acting? And part of us is like, just leave them alone, just let them be. But there's that part of us kind of in our ego, and we all want the children can represent, I want to have people who I can be friends with and enjoy their company and get along, not understanding why it has to be so difficult with some people. And they're kind of hoping, because it bothers you, that instead of investing in your intuition and moving away from them, that because it kind of bothers you, that you'll keep staying in kind of a relationship with someone, or putting in more work and effort with someone, when you've kind of already seen that it's kind of shadowy. And partly it can be because you don't understand it, because if you're someone who doesn't act like that with people, you don't understand why people are doing it. And it can kind of bother you, like, I don't understand. And the devil in a typical tarot deck looks just like the Lover's card with an angel there and the two people getting along. That's a healthy relationship and interaction. The devil card looks just like the Lover's card, except that there's the devil there and the people have chains and shackles on them. And it's to realize the truth, because in High Vibe, the pentacle also is about the truth. Accept the truth when people show you the truth of who they are. When you're working with someone and they start to act, I mean, sometimes we can extend grace to people, and we might have to keep working with them for the next 20 years, but, or they're our neighbor for the next 20 years. But, when people show you, oh, I don't really work together with people in a more just and fair way. I'm kind of immature, and I'm kind of defensive, or I'm kind of bossy, or I'm kind of short, or I'm kind of has to be more about me, or I like people to indulge me, or whatever, or I try to get out of doing things and try to make other people do it. You see the truth of it and accept the truth. Thank you for showing me who you are. I I probably got enough people in my life that are part of maybe my family or people I got to work with or my community, in addition to the wonderful loving people in my life. But I'm not taking on any more new shadowy people. You know, I got enough that I already got invested in somehow or another that I have to interact with and deal with. I certainly don't want to bring more people in, more snakes in the pit that I have to deal with. So it can be confusing. I would say don't take it personally. If you know you acted in truth and love and were willing to work together with them in a just and fair way, and they don't work together with you that way, they have their free will to choose how they want to act and interact and react. And we accept the truth that it isn't very maybe just or fair or loving or kind, patient, self disciplined. And we just realize they have not learned some of those lessons yet. And it is what it is. They have to make the free will to change. And sometimes for a lot of our life, we can always be trying to change other people. And that probably didn't work out because when we meet people, say you're 35 and you're going out in the world and you're kind of looking for someone in your age group, maybe to date. Well, when you go meet someone and they show you they have some of these shadowy traits and characteristics, like some other people that you might have dated when you were 21 or 25. Yeah, a lot of people would be like, yeah, I've already called judgment on that. If you kind of show me, oh, like you got a big drinking problem, yeah, no, already been there, done that. Oh, you kind of lack some impulse control and you say or do things that are just wow, no, I already maybe went out with people like that. Or you're more full of yourself. No, I already went out with people like that. you know, Eventually the high vibe people are like, no, thank you for showing me the truth of who you are, or I'm just going to listen to my intuition and kind of keep my distance. And maybe if I were to get you to know you more over time, and I find out that, you know, I wasn't seeing you clearly, you were having a bad month or year for some reason going on in your life, I can extend people grace but I'm going to keep listening to my intuition. And, you know, another thing that's kind of interesting, the difference I think, between high vibe people and shadowy people is that, again, high vibe people feel proud of themselves that they were authentic, that they were just, that they were fair, and they were loving. And it's kind of interesting to think that the way other people view things is that, there's no guarantees when we get in a friendship or relationship with someone when things might not turn out the way we wanted. And it's like as if some people, and that can be shadowy Aries, where, well, I want to try to control it. And if I can control it, then everything will work out okay. And so then they can be kind of the devil, a little overbearing in a relationship. Um, because it's like this ego thing. Like, I would be mad at myself if I did more authentically invest in someone and then it didn't work out. I don't think you should be mad at, I mean, it's hard for me to, I mean, it's one thing. I mean, I think we can all relate to it when we were much younger. You don't want to be in a relationship, and then it's like, what? Oh, yeah, they were out doing this and they were out doing that and kissing on this person or doing whatever. It's like, well, I certainly don't want, you know, well, hopefully, you know, we take more time. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. The pages can talk about small offers to get to know people. And, we could listen to our intuition, be attracted to people, get to know people, make small gestures to kind of get to know them more. And it kind of stays in that category of like friend zone until I feel like I have gotten to know someone well enough and I can only make the best decisions I can make. And if at some future point in time, either someone kind of drives their life off into the ditch and completely like, wow, they're not like the person I thought they were, or they something changed, we don't know when people are gonna kind of run their life off into the ditch. I don't have to take responsibility for that. I don't think that has to be a reflection of me. And if I don't want to sabotage a relationship, I'm going to make the best decision I can, high vibe Aries energy, with the information I know and listening to my intuition instead of making decisions more out of fear and insecurity and lust and greed and codependency. And then I'm going to move forward in that relationship. And again, I'm going to hold myself accountable for my actions. Uh, I'm going to hold them accountable and we'll see how it goes. And I will have conducted myself in a way that I can feel proud of. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If they weren't who they said they weren't who they said they are. That's on them. But for some people, that's not how they think. um, some people could be in a relationship right now of some sort, or were in a relationship with someone who wasn't who they said they were. And it could have kind of become kind of toxic. And part of that could have been we could get in relationships when we're both more codependent and then they want you to stay more codependent. But during the course of the relationship or friendship, you could have worked through some issues that previously kind of stopped you from moving forward. You were willing and inspired to get to the truth. So you could let it go. If it was your past pain and heartbreak, self-limiting beliefs, I want to work through it because I don't like those things manipulating me. And then when you work through it, you did kind of look at life differently. It kind of freed you to move forward in life differently. Well, then you've changed and you're not the same person. What could be that thing? The Four of Wands, which Aries energy. You could have been inspired to invest in yourself or love yourself. Or maybe work through some issues. Maybe the Four of Wands can be foundations that we have belonged to in our life. And maybe things from childhood. What are things that bothered me that kind of made me have fear of trusting other people, being more authentically myself, loving myself, believing in myself? I don't like those things getting me up in my head or manipulating me. And any other friendships or relationships I could have been in growing up. I want to work through those things. So I'm going to invest in doing this inner work. That's what Virgo energy talks about, doing this inner work within yourself to shed light on those things. It's not going in there with a sledgehammer to beat myself up for every mistake I've made and beat everyone else up in my mind for every mistake they've made and they're this awful, atrocious person. We're all fallible human beings. And sometimes we can be more immature. We can be more bossy, controlling, hurtful, unkind, unjust, have a lot of mental conflict, whatever. Everybody else, it's just to be willing to see the truth of some of us and then offer ourselves truth and love and compassion and forgiveness. Don't stay belittling and berating and condemning ourselves all our life, but then in turn to offer that to other people in our life or the people in our past who maybe aren't in our life anymore. I accept that they're a fallible human being who had a lot of lessons learned. And some of those people were immature and bossy or controlling or deceptive or manipulative or whatever. And the people and when you do that work within yourself to free yourself, you kind of realize how hard it is and you can understand why other people didn't do it. Other people might start and then they give up and they go back to doing what they were doing. because it's a long process to work through, to go invest in a new beginning and call judgment on something old, kind of like put it to rest, uh, is kind of making me think of the Scorpio death card. It's kind of like a grieving process. But if I look at all the things I learned from that experience of what I do like, what I don't like, traits and characteristics within people I do like and I don't like, I'm going to take what I learned from those experiences, regardless of how hurtful or unpleasant they could have been, and I'm going to take that with me. And that, compared to some other people in the world who haven't went through some life experiences, and hopefully they won't, but um, you know, having just a completely different perspective on life, and you might have a completely different perspective in how you view life, and had to look at life from a much higher perspective to not let those things keep you in more shadowy energy. And so there, Aquarius energy could be that you're kind of Aquarius. I think I saw I googled it because of what somebody said one time, but I think it's one of the fewer people are born under the Aquarius sun sign than of all of the zodiac signs. So it is kind of unique and different and kind of stands out, but it might be because of the unique life experiences you went through. It might be some unique talent, skills, and interests that you have. It might have some unique traits or characteristics, just like, Hollywood stars. If those people are very attractive, it can, or very talented or whatever. Um, there can be a lot of people who want to be in friendship or relationship with you, and you kind of have to sift through who's wanting to be in a relationship with me for the wrong reason. And sometimes you do are unique and different in ways that you wish you weren't, and it could make other people, if you were someone who just seems more stable and grounded within yourself, there can be people who just don't like you because you are more stable and grounded if they're more immature. Well, we're doing this and acting like this, why don't you act like that? They wouldn't say that, but they can probably see that that's not how you're living your life. It's like, well, why don't you live your life like that? I don't like it. And shadowy energy of the devil can be, I'm jealous, I'm envious. Maybe you do have a unique talent, skill, and interest. Maybe you are attractive. Maybe you are smart. Maybe you're, who knows what you are. you know, there's some people, it doesn't matter what anybody else has, they're jealous and they're envious. The more shadowy they are, they like to be the center of attention, and they don't like anybody to have any other attention. But what they don't realize, you can't do all the jobs in the world, and other people need to do those things. But it's kind of like they don't want to give anybody their flowers, like, or it takes away from them to give to anybody else. Some people, some high vibe people could know some people in their life that they could have grown up with, could be their own adult children, brothers, sisters, parents, could be people in extended family, in a community, other kids in a neighborhood, but the children could just represent immature people in the world. And some of those people, you're no longer in a relationship or a foundation or a house with them anymore. And it can be hard with some of those people because you wanted those people, whether they were a friend or family member, you could have wanted them to keep moving forward with you in your life. You had this dream and you thought together you were going to work through some of these obstacles or challenges, and that you'd overcome them all together, and you'd all keep moving forward together. But you know not everybody, we can be friends with people, and we could have helped each other through difficult times. But then once we kind of get back up on our feet again and we're ready to move forward, well, then how we want to move forward could be different. Just like you could have people that you enjoyed maybe in high school, but then if they go to college or you go to college or you go get a job, they go get a job, just like it happened, could have happened back then in those circumstances. We're kind of invested in different things, kind of taking different paths and hanging out with different people. And then those are kind of some of the people we start to hang out with. And it can be sad because some people would have been like, well, I didn't care if you moved away. I don't care if you went and got another job. And so you could kind of feel like, why can't we still hang out here and there? And some people are just like, again, you could kind of feel a little deceived and hurt that, I don't know why we still can't hang out or get along, right? And some of the shadowy people with you could feel hurt and upset and mad because they don't understand why they can't still hang out with you. But it's like, if I was trying to work together with you to bring a dream where it is more just and fair and balanced, and you keep repeating certain patterns, I don't want to keep repeating that pattern. So, uh, the more immature or shadowy someone is, probably the more, I mean, anybody can be hurt when a relationship doesn't work out. Um, but if it's just like a friendship or relationship where they're used to kind of being indulged or getting their way, the more angry they're going to be. And again, sometimes we get in these more mismatched relationships where you thought everybody was going to do some of this inner work to maybe be more independent and heal and grow and mature themselves. And for some people, that wasn't their truth, and they were mad that you did this work within yourself because now you are moving forward more independently. And of course, then if they're going to keep moving forward with you, they would kind of have to do some of that work within themselves, and they maybe never planned to do that. And they're upset that you do look at life differently and that you might have more hope and faith and belief in yourself than maybe you did before. And then, they could know they don't want to be in the relationship. You could kind of know that you don't want to stay in the relationship as time goes by. But the high vibe people are willing to offer truth and love, and it could come to an amicable conclusion. But the shadowy people don't want people to know that you like healed and grew and matured yourself, and that they're not moving forward with you now because you're kind of not in a more immature or codependent energy. So then they might purposely do something that's hurtful and unkind to try to hurt you, really confuse you, to stop you from moving forward in life the way that you are, either to come back and do it the way they want you to do it, or hoping because you're so hurt and you're so confused that someone is totally acting in a way that is nothing like the type of person that you thought they were. It either makes you really distrustful of others, or to feel better, you might go repeat some poor past patterns. And then hopefully they would want you to drive your life off into the ditch. And then they can move forward and say, see, I was the more emotionally mature, stable, grounded, loving one. And that's like the devil trying to steal from other people and claiming it as their own. And then, like, taking over your life in a way like, oh no, that wasn't the truth of who they were. That's who I am. But it's just an illusion. And I mean, it's crazy to think that some people think that way, right? Let's be mean, and let's be, well, it's just like anybody, like, let's throw them under the bus, let's kick them to the curb. And I don't like that they love and believe in themselves. I don't like that they're not doing what we're doing. I don't like that they don't want to be a friend or be in a relationship with me anymore. Let's do all those hurtful things, and then we'll move forward in this new beginning, like, and we'll create an illusion and try to deceive people about the truth of what happened. And they'll be so hurt that maybe they'll even give up on believing in their dreams. The devil would love for you to quit believing in yourself and believing in your dreams. And some shadowy people in the world who don't like that you love and believe in yourself or shine bright in the world don't want you to either. But for some of those people, that didn't work out the way they wanted. For some, They wanted to hurt you so you'd come back and do the relationship the way they wanted. That didn't work. You listened to your intuition, and even though you had fear, I'm not going to get back in a relationship with that person. That person showed me, some shadowy ways of being. That's not my truth, and I am going to face my fears and listen to my intuition, and I'm going to move away from them. And that's then when, like, the second phase can come in, where they come up with this idea to try to confuse people about the truth and be hurtful and unkind, hoping that'll drive your life off into the ditch. And then they can move forward and look like they're the shining star. And that didn't work because you kept moving forward in the face of it. It's like, I am not going to let anything stand in my way. I don't care how long it takes. Virgo energy talks about taking these slow, steady steps every day. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Eventually, I'm going to end up over there and not be still here. And I certainly didn't backtrack. But the other people did repeat some poor past patterns, and they could have thought, maybe because of their status or their ego or their charm or their looks, or if they could get in a different job, friendship, or relationship, that they would be able to look like, I don't know, like they healed or grew or mature. But you're moving forward in truth and love. They might try to get in some other relationships or something, and people call judgment on them because other people see what you see, or they get in relationships with someone else, but they don't want to tell them the truth about why that other relationship didn't work out and what they did. And so then the people that would have maybe wanted to be in a relationship with them too are like, I don't think you're telling me the truth. That person seems to be not what you say they were. And the more they move forward living their truth and looking very stable and having new beginnings, very grounded, kind of looking like a shining star in the world, I don't think you're telling me the truth. And they seem like they're authentic. And they're not trying to deceive and manipulate anyone. They don't seem to be more bossy or controlling or selfish or immature or lustful or greedy, which might be all the things that they'd said. And then they really don't like it, and the more mad they get that their plan didn't work. So what's coming up? High vibe people are moving forward with people in their life who are authentic and honest and investing in new beginnings. You've completed a phase. You get to go to the next level of the video game of life authentically. The other people are going to try to create the illusion they're ready to go to the next phase of life, but they didn't learn the lesson. They weren't willing to call judgment on themselves and hold themselves accountable for where they needed to heal and grow and mature themselves, or other things or people in their life that they let manipulate them. And part of the reason they let those things manipulate them, or those people, is because there's a part within themselves that isn't ready to be more independent, and they're more codependent. They have more fear. They don't listen to their intuition. And until they are willing to do that within themselves, they're going to keep repeating this pattern. So what's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming? The King of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Why? Because of the Queen of Wands. Wow. That kind of reminds me. I have another channel called I Alone Fly Tarot, and I just did the Aries reading, and that one had the Six of Wands, which is Aquarius energy. And in that one, the people are moving forward in the boat, and they have their child, their emotional nature, and kind of taking charge of their life. I do have my emotionally intuitive and my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And in my Aries energy, I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm moving us all forward, and all aspects of me are important. I do have my worldly nature, that's important. I have my emotional intuitive nature, that's important. I have my more hopeful, believing inner child, that's important. And we all need to work together. So, because some high vibe people, the Queen of Wands can be also represented by the Sun, you wanted to get to the truth. There was things that were going on that were confusing. And you could have felt people were being deceptive or manipulative. and you wanted to get to the truth. And if you already know some people were deceptive and manipulative and you were moving away from them in high vibe Leo, you had to give yourself the things that you wished other people would have given you. And those people weren't giving those things to you anymore. So you had to be inspired to invest in yourself. And that's what, with this card not showing itself, that's what some people didn't know about you, is that within yourself, you are willing to learn lessons and invest in loving yourself and giving yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you, and to listen to your intuition and look at life from a higher perspective and face your fears and grow up and mature yourself. And because you did that, now in the King of Wands, you're ready to go on this new adventure. I am inspired within myself to love and believe in myself. And I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort into the people in my life who do work together. I have no idea if we'll keep working together. All I can do is listen to my intuition. If I have people in my life who seem to be inspired more by truth and love and emotional maturity, I'm going to keep investing in them. And I think as you keep moving forward in this energy, other people know you could repeat an old pattern. You could get up in your head. You could be more about yourself. You could be more about lust and greed and pride and ego and money and materialism and think those things are the answer in your life. But I think you're investing in your future, and other people see that. And you could look in fire sign energy, very attractive, very creative, very inspired, energetically, you're in high vibe energy, and other people can tell that. And that's why some people won't be in friendships or relationships with you. Some people can be jealous and envious. Some people would like to be in a relationship with you, but they know they got some fears and insecurities about being more truthful and authentic. And some of them you've already called judgment on. So it's like, shit. And, you'll just listen to your intuition about different people you meet. As you move forward, it's kind of going new levels, new devils. You know, People could have learned lessons from a previous phase of life. You've learned some of those lessons, you've moved forward. But when anyone is at a phase of life, like in the video game, they can fall down back to the old level. So you're kind of listening to your intuition about who are the more immature people, who are the more authentic people, who are the, because at every level, people could have learned some lessons just to have more hope and faith and belief in themselves and put in work and effort in a way to have more life experience. But it doesn't mean they're, you know, a lot of people can have a lot of status, money, and power, and they're atrocious people. But, if we do work with these things of the world, we can accomplish a lot. We can look really very victorious and successful. Doesn't mean we're a good person, right? And so you're going to listen to your intuition about who's who. But you're right now, it looks like with the King and Queen of Pentacles, no, the King and Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands, that you're going to meet some people, if you're not already in relationship with those people, that are like your soul tribe. People are on the same page as you. And it's really going to inspire you to be in relationships with people who are loving and encouraging and inspiring and authentic and supportive of you. Where before, maybe it was always trying to be that for other people, but those people weren't being that for you. What's coming up for people under some more shadowy Aries energy that they might not see coming? We have the Six of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Temperance card, the Ten of Wands, and the Five of Swords. And the reason is because of the Six of Wands. So the shadowy people, because they're more inspired by the past, is what the Six of Cups can be, and maybe kind of indulging their more immature, egoic nature, or fearful nature, or defensive nature, materialistic nature, whatever it is that kind of drives and motivates them. Um, they've had people in their life who, friends or family or whoever, that would have been trying to get them to move forward with them. And some of those people in the Ten of Wands, kind of like Sagittarius, have been putting a lot of work and effort to try to help these people maybe close out an old chapter, quit repeating old patterns, to work through their mental conflict in Aquarius energy. Like, why are you so caught up in that? Why do you make that so important in your life? Or why do you make those people so important in your life? Or that person? Uh, why don't you deal with your mental conflict? Why don't you deal with these things that overwhelm you? Or why are you so driven? Or why are you, how about, the sixes talk about trying to get more balance. But again, the shadowy people can kind of think, no, you're supposed to put in all the work and effort to make this work and make it balanced. I get to repeat these old patterns and you're supposed to indulge me. And the other people have been putting in a lot of work and effort. And finally, they can see the truth of it. Nothing's going to change. I keep hoping and putting in this work and effort, hoping things will change, because the fives talk about change, but nothing changes, because one person, if it's working with another person, both people have to be willing to change, to heal, to deal with the truth, to quit repeating old patterns, to become independent of some things. The tens talk about closing out an old cycle, and the five of swords comes after the four of swords, which is healing, like from past pain and heartbreak or ways of viewing life, and seeing the truth that things need to change. But we can't make people change. And I think they're going to have some more high vibrational people in their life that tell them, I accept the truth of it. I see nothing is going to change. But I've changed. And after the Ten of Wands, we come out with the Ace of Wands. We drop the burden. I am going to do this work within myself to figure out why I would stay at this job, this friendship, this relationship. What is it within me that would make me stay? And then I'm going to work through those things to love and believe in myself. I'm going to do this work to heal. And I'm not calling judgment on it. And then the shadowy people will be like, what? You're not going to keep indulging me anymore? You're not going to let me just come with you and keep repeating these old patterns? It's like, no, I'm going to kind of distance myself from you. You maybe need to find some other people to go hang out with and see, how that works out. Or I don't want to be in this job or this relationship or this marriage anymore. And it could be that I feel like people weren't being authentic and truthful. People weren't being just and fair. And so the shadowy people will probably, most likely, will go repeat some old patterns to make themselves feel better, either in things that they indulge in or indulge themselves, like being a bad parent to themselves, indulge their more immature nature. We don't have to heal and grow and mature ourselves. We don't have to temper our ego. We don't have to quit being this way or that way. We'll find someone else who wants to be in a relationship with us. Or we'll go get a new job. And they'll probably repeat the pattern all over. Hopefully they quit trying to get in relationships with people who are more motivated by love or more emotionally stable and grounded and mature than they are, and go get in relationships with people who are more like themselves. And that's probably what will end up, because even shadowy people, especially if they're codependent, they're kind of looking for someone to be like a parent in their life. You love me like a parent would. Let me be immature. Indulge me like a parent would. Well, that is a stage of life that can be, loving, but, there can be things you don't like about it, but you work through it and you can only do the best that you can do. And if you're dealing with some people who don't want to heal or grow and mature themselves, um, though you could have love for them, I don't, you go live your life, I'll go live my life. And some people are just really overwhelmed at the thought of change and they don't like change. So they really like to stay in their comfort zone. I don't like to invest in anything new. I don't want to step outside my comfort zone. That's unknown territory. I've never been there before. This is what I know to do. It's like it's their bag of resources of how they deal with things. And if they were to step outside their comfort zone, the moon can be like unknown territory. Well, I would have to listen to love and intuition to go do that because I've never been there before. And I like to stay in my comfort zone. I might like to live in the same town, hang out with the same people, do the same things. Because if I go out there, it's kind of like afraid that I can't, what I've manifested here, which I could like and I could enjoy, I don't know if I can manifest that out there. And other people believe that, I think there's other people in the world who, I mean, yes, sometimes the people that we knew from the time we were young, it can be harder to maybe make friends and stuff as you get older because everybody's in their own things and relationships. But, um, you know, I don't want to keep repeating this pattern. And I am ready to go out there and I believe I can manifest what I manifested here out there. And I offered you truth and love to come with me, but if you don't, that's not your truth, then I wish you peace. But I can't keep repeating this old pattern. There's nothing new grows here. It's like dead energy. And it could be getting more and more toxic as the days go by. Because that's what happens. It's just like when we were 15, 18, 21, 25, our intuition tells us it's kind of time to move forward. It's kind of time to call judgment on this. And then we can have fear of letting go of that old phase of life and moving forward differently. But we do it slowly and gradually. I mean, most people aren't like, I mean, sometimes you do have to, move to another state, move to another town, move across the world for some people, but it's just small, gradual changes. I would like things to change. There's something about this that seems stopping us from moving forward in life in a more balanced, kind of more going with the flow. Are we both willing to see the truth of it? And some people are like, no, I don't want to do things any different. And I don't want to listen to my intuition. And I don't want to be more bold and brave and confident. Let's just do this. So it's like, I wish you peace. You can do that over and over and over. And eventually, they'll have new people come in their life too, who might, we're all looking for people who are kind of living their life in the Six of Pentacles or kind of repeating, or the Six of Cups, a pattern of life that we think we kind of relate to and that we're comfortable with. But I think if they get in relationships with more high vibrational people, this same scenario will play out again. And eventually they'll probably end up with other people who are also very overwhelmed about change, who might be people who maybe are more manipulative in relationships, more codependent, kind of like to maybe be indulged in a relationship, aren't being truthful and authentic. And then they'll have their lesson. Maybe they'll find out what it's like to be in a relationship with someone more like themselves. If loving people in their life didn't help them be enlightened to the truth. Maybe being in some relationships with some people like themselves and realizing if I don't change, this is going to keep happening. Because the people in my life who were more loving and encouraging weren't willing to keep putting up with my ass. And unless I want to, or they'll just decide, shit, I definitely don't like being in relationships with people more like myself. I'm going to go try to deceive another high vibe person. They still don't want to see the truth. Just get better at masking it. So there you go, Aries. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.